Super Bowl 60 on our second day on Media Row. It has been a whirlwind, and as today is wrapping up, we get to finish. I think it's our last one. Maybe we have one more, but with Washington State legend, second overall pick, Brian Leaf, and he is connected with this Recovery Playbook where he's helping with substance abuse and time former players who are having some mental health issues. And we get the opportunity to let him share his story and what the Recovery Playbook is. So, sir, thank you for your time, and please take it away.
Thank you for your service, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
My dad served, and so I do a lot of work with former combat vets and guys that have very similar stories to mine, where you come home and you take that uniform off and you don't know who you are. What's that like? And you miss that locker room feeling and stuff. You're trying to find it again, and we have to be there for one another. So that's kind of what's led to me, after my career was over and I struggled with that sense of transition. And, when I finally had a chance to figure it out, it ended up being based in a lot of wellness and recovery. And the only way for me to kind of keep that peaceful and chaotic life is to give it away, give it back. And so that's what I've been doing for the last, 12 years or so. And it's really fun to do this and be a part of it. I'm glad you guys are experiencing the Super Bowl atmosphere here.
It has been an experience, to say the least.
So leading into what you were just talking about, I like to go from the beginning. So from Montana.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Montana? What was it that was instilled in you so that when it did come time for the struggles and everything that you faced, you had something internally that you were able to draw on to help you kind of climb out of that? So what was it like back in the beginning up in Montana?
Yeah, I didn't think about that really. Growing up the way I did, I kind of just, I was head and shoulders so much more talented than everybody, and it wasn't like the movies where the most talented is the most popular kid. Like, I was rooted in competition and winning. So I kind of got beat up on in terms of, didn't have a lot of friends, wasn't popular, and kind of had to pick myself up a lot, and I think that's probably where it stemmed from. Not that, when things got bad, did I handle things the best way? In fact, I think I was pretty impulsive in a lot of the situations, but it never cost me anything truly until I got to the highest level. And then when you get to the highest level, if you don't deal with things in a positive and healthy way, it heads off the rails pretty quick. And that's what happened. And so, good thing for me though is that the end wasn't the end. It was just the beginning for me. And I picked myself up for a final time and started walking the path that I probably should have a long time before. And a big part of that was kind of simply surrendering and asking for help. I like to take a lot of credit for, picking myself up and doing it, but I've been carried along a long part of it. And a lot of people are due respect and admiration for helping make it this far.
Yeah, so I think that's the most impressive piece of the story is you're not the first one to go through those struggles, and you're not the first one to pick themselves up. But unfortunately, I think there's less of those stories, right? They let it defeat them. So you get to draw on that experience and then into what you're doing now.
The cool part about it is, like, once you kind of figure out what kind of path of purposefulness you want to go down, you go all in. Like, you're committed, and so that's what it's about. Ironically enough, when you make it about other people, your life gets better, and that's for like a narcissist. My whole life, I assumed for my life to get better, it had to be about me, what you could give me, what I got out of the deal, and that's not the case. And so that's what it's been about. So a lot of the things I do. In a lot of situations, I don't feel like I actually do that much. When you're working with and speaking to some of the disenfranchised, they never feel seen or feel heard. And sometimes I'm just present. I look them in the eye and make them feel like they're seen and they're heard. And that does enough to change my stars and possibly change theirs, and that's where it all kind of stemmed from. And it's continued. And, I work really closely with the Menninger Clinic, which is based out of Houston. It's a state-of-the-art psychiatric and substance use disorder facility, and they have a deal with the NFLPA So when I'm down there quarterly in Houston, I'll interact with former NFL players, anywhere from 8 to 12 guys each time I'm there. And that's incredibly purposeful. I don't think I would have that kind of contact with guys if it weren't for that relationship with and so Dr. Shorter, who's the executive director, and we started a podcast, and kind of in the vein of the old Key and Peele one where they had President Obama, and then his translator. That's Dr. Shorter. He's talking in like medical, and I'm the translator in layman's terms about what addiction and things are, and it's been really good. A lot of the families I've talked to, it's been really helpful to families who may not understand maybe what their child's going through or their family members going through, and I help them.
What's that podcast called, and where can they can find it everywhere?
Yeah, it's the Recovery Playbook.
That's what it's called. Okay,
it's called Recovery Playbook. You can go to YouTube at the Menninger Clinic YouTube page, and we release episodes every couple of weeks.
So you talked about how growing up, you were a competitor, but you were the best, and then obviously you get your Division I offer, and you go highly drafted. I'm sorry, I'm a Tennessee fan, so you go highly drafted. So you've had all this success. Can you talk about how gratifying it is now? And you kind of mentioned it. Once I started helping others, that my life got better. So can you talk a little more about how gratifying it is?
Listen, I love playing football. I love to compete. I still love to compete. I just thought I was so damn important because I played football, and I think that's, it's an institution in our country for a reason because people love it, and realistically, it's kind of a drug. You disappear on Sundays for people, and in some ways a good one. Where you kind of get outside yourself and you get immersed in something that's bigger than you, and that's a lot of fun sometimes. But it's not the end all be all. It doesn't make me more important or less important than any other human being. We're all the same. We're these flawed human beings trying to be better every day. And it's funny how I had to experience the things I had to experience to figure that stuff out. Being humbled in certain ways is so fascinating to me. It's interesting. Like, why does this person have to be humbled in this way while another person has to be humbled in my way, where I wake up on a prison cell floor, and then developing gratitude for having had that happen to me, So that's the biggest thing in all this. I think my superpower is perspective. I have a better perspective than I think 99.9% of the people on this planet because of what I've gone through. There's never really anything that I ever get to a point where I have anything to complain about. I mean, who's got it better than me? I think, nobody. And that's the way I feel. I have an incredible life. Beautiful wife, 2 kids under the age of 10 right now, a little girl, and I get to do a job that I really love. I get to call football games and be part of the football world, but also have a platform in which I help people. So when people talk about finding a purposeful life in terms of occupation where you love to go to work, that's really kind of where I'm at, and that was just a decision I had to make.
Was fatherhood a big part of that finding purpose?
It has, and I'm glad it happened after I kind of figured life out, and I didn't have to put my family or my kids through what I was going through at the time. Now listen, I'm the oldest of 3 boys. It's the first girl in our family. The little 2-year-old, she's got me wrapped around her little finger already.
I got a little baby girl just turned 1.
Oh yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
So he does too.
It's a trip, and I love it, and I miss being away from him when I'm traveling. But yeah, there's something about when the doctor places the baby in your arms in the delivery room, there's a wave of selflessness that overcomes you because you kind of, from that point on, it's never going to be about you. It's going to be, everything's about her and your kids now. All the money you earn, all the things you do is to push forward that and to protect them. And so I do think that's carried me a long way, and it's given me an identity that didn't exist before that,
Yeah, that's incredible. So, but finding purpose, you talk about work. So you got family and you have the Recovery Playbook, but now you're an NFL analyst with Believe. And we had the founder, we had Ron on earlier, and then we started off our day with Aaron from Believe Rams. So, tell us about your role there and how that's kind of given you a purpose, and Ryan Leaf back in the NFL.
Well, Bron and I co-founded it. in a Sweet Greens on Sunset out.
He told that
Sunset.
story. Yeah, this is all. Yeah. Please do it again. For not everybody will see that one.
I mean, we were looking at ways. I came to him when I was just like, hey, I want to do a podcast. I want to talk about, how do we do this? And we sat down, we talked about how we could find a different role. And one of them was to build a network in which each city had, content for every professional team or something like that. So if it was in Houston, it was about, the Houston Cougars, it was about the Texans, it was about the Rockets, and there just wasn't that for every town and everything like that. So that's where it started. Now Braun's the one that's run with it. I have gone off on my path, and I've been at the foundation of it, and I've watched it grow, and I've contributed when I can. But I mean, that dude deserves all the credit in the world. What it has allowed for him is to showcase that Believe's kind of a place where you can start, and where you can work on your chops, learn how to be better.
We do have his contact information. We are going to learn from him as well. Because I don't know, we were talking about this earlier. I don't know if there's a Believe Kentucky or Believe Tennessee.
There should be. Start it up.
They're about to be.
They're about to be. I would agree with you guys that, it's very knowledgeable. He's the one 10 years ago. I met him on Radio Row. My wife was carrying me through, and I was getting pulled in every direction to do it. And he was doing a lot of PR, and he kind of started injecting himself into helping me get through these things. And him and me have been friends ever since. Like, he's been with me on this entire journey together. And so I've watched him get married, have a family. He's watched the same. We've been there for one another with deaths in the family and new life. And so it's really good to have people to have your back. And you guys haven't been in the military, you don't go as far as the guy that has your back. Same thing in this world, man. You surround yourself with the right people. I'll show you your friends, and I'll show you your future is the truth in all of this.
Yes, sir. Well, so I do appreciate your time. I hope we do stay connected. Thank you for, letting us know what you do with the Recovery Playbook. Go check that out on YouTube. Also check out Ryan Leaf on Believe Network, which I think is on FanDuel TV.
It's on everywhere, it feels everywhere. Like.
Okay.
You can catch me. I'm the lead analyst on the CW for college football. I also call the NFL games for Westwood One. I'm on SiriusXM NFL Radio on Monday mornings with Solomon Wilcots. And then you can follow me at the Ryan D. Leaf, theryandleaf.com is my website, where you can see what we're doing and what we do in our consultant and production business. So thank you guys very much for having me.
Thanks for
that was awesome. Thank you so much.